Hi, it's just Miss H again. We're just going to continue reading from So Be It, and we are in chapter 17. The title is Kiss. I slept late the next morning. It was almost 9 o'clock when I finally woke up, and the first thing I thought about was Elliot. I wanted to show him the photographs. I went straight out to the kitchen without even getting dressed. "Where's Roy?" I asked Ruby, who was standing at the sink washing dishes. "He didn't leave for Hilltop already, did he?" "No, he's gone to Monticello this morning," she said. "He had some business with the county clerk." "Did you sleep well?" she asked. "Like a top," I answered automatically. "That's an interesting expression," Ruby said. "Where'd that one come from?" "I don't know. Bernie always says it," I said. "I've heard of sleeping like a rock, or like a baby, but never like a top," Ruby said. "Is Roy going up to Hilltop after Monticello?" I asked. "He'll call in a while. We can ask him then," she said. "Want some pancakes? There's blueberry syrup I made myself last summer." I was hungry, and pancakes with blueberry syrup sounded delicious, but I wasn't going to be distracted from my plan. "Are you going up to Hilltop this morning to work? Could I come with you? I want to show Elliot my photographs," I said. "I thought maybe he'd remember Mama if he saw her." "I'm taking the day off today," Ruby told me. "Thought maybe we'd spend it together." "Won't Elliot miss you?" I asked. I liked Ruby, but I didn't want to spend the day there with her waiting for Roy. I needed to go back up to Hilltop. I needed to be there to make sure somebody asked Thurman Hill to explain why Elliot knew Mama's word. "I haven't taken a personal day all year," Ruby said. "There are plenty of other people Ellie likes. There's Sally. She sings and her voice is much better than mine. And she's got physical therapy with Bruce today. He likes that too." "But I want to show him the photographs," I said again. "Show me instead," she said. "I only got to see a few yesterday. It's amazing to see how the place has changed. And I'd like to see your mother again, and your grandmother too." "I don't know if she's my grandmother," I said. "Do you think Roy could stop here first and pick me up before he goes up there? Or could you take me, even if you're not going to work?" "Heidi, I'm sorry, but for the moment, like it or not, you're stuck here with me," she said. "Even if I wanted to take you up there, I couldn't. We only have the one car, and Roy's got it." "Can I walk?" I asked. "Much too far to walk. It's almost 10 miles. Why don't you go get the photos and I'll make a plate of pancakes," Ruby said. I was disappointed, but there wasn't anything I could do. I went back to the little bedroom to get dressed. When I opened my suitcase, I was surprised to find that it was empty. I looked around and found that everything in it had been taken out, washed, ironed, folded, and put neatly into the top drawer of a small brewery near the door. The socks were rolled into tight little balls, reminding me of armadillos Bernie and I had seen once in an animal book from the library. The shirts and underwear were stacked in tidy piles, all the edges lined up and facing in the same direction. Tucked in among the piles was a small, nubby brown ball. It smelled spicy, and when I looked at it up close, and I saw that it was an orange stuck full of cloves. The jar of jelly beans in my backpack were sitting on a shelf under the window near the bed. I pulled the packet of photos out of my backpack and headed back to the kitchen where Ruby was busy at the stove flipping pancakes. "Thank you for washing my clothes," I said. "They smell good, and I like the way you fold." Ruby smiled. "You know, that bed you slept in last night was mine when I was a little girl, Heidi," Ruby told me as she set a plate down on the table for me. "It used to be painted blue, and underneath the edge on the right side is where I park my chewing gum at night." "Is it still there?" I asked as I sat down and pulled the folded triangle of napkin out under the fork at my place. "If it is, it is a valuable antique by now," she laughed. There was a pitcher of orange juice and a little juice glasses with seahorses all around the edges. Ruby brought a cup of coffee over to the table and sat down across from me. "This ought to help make up for the frozen pot pies last night," she said. "I made the syrup this past summer, picked all the berries myself." I pressed my fork sideways down into the stack of pancakes. Blueberry syrup spilled all over the edges and raced out to the rim of the plate like a little blue river. I took a big bite, closed my eyes, and groaned out loud. And it was so good. Ruby watched me eat, and when I'd all but licked my plate clean, she reached over and tapped her finger on the yellow envelope of photos. "Will you show me?" she asked. I nodded and wiped my lips with the napkin. Then I opened the packet the way I had a million times before and began to hand the photos across the table to Ruby. "This is the one you saw already, with everyone out on the porch under the sign," I said. And this is the one of Mama and the woman in the red sweater, who might be my grandmother. Ruby took the photo from me. And this is the scrawny Santa Claus, I stopped mid-sentence. The Santa Claus with his arm around the shaggy-haired boy, the unpadded red suit hanging loose and billowing around his tall, skinny frame, the sleeves so short that his bony wrist poked out, and his watch, no, I wondered I had dreamed about it the night before. I knew now who the Santa was. And that is the end of chapter 17.